The Sinister Secrets of the Séance Chamber.
In the heart of Ravenwood Manor, a tale of unspeakable horrors begins. The ancient trees, their skeletal branches whispering in the howling wind, cast eerie shadows upon the looming facade of the mansion. Ravenwood Manor, a monument to centuries past, harbors a dark history whispered among the townsfolk like a ghostly secret. But it is not the exterior that hides the most chilling tale. Deep within the bowels of the manor, concealed from prying eyes, lies the Séance Chamber, a room that bears witness to unspeakable horrors. As Emma Thornton, the unsuspecting historian, steps into the shadows of Ravenwood Manor, the air grows heavy with the weight of centuries. The grand entrance welcomes her, and Mr. Archibald Blackthorn, the enigmatic owner with a gaunt face and eyes betraying a secret knowledge, greets her with a hollow smile. Unbeknownst to Emma, the darkness lurking within the mansion is about to consume her. Archibald Blackthorn, the enigmatic guide, leads Emma through winding corridors adorned with portraits of long-forgotten faces. Each step echoes in the silence, a haunting prelude to the horrors awaiting them. And then, behind a tapestry that seems to depict a twisted dance of the damned, Archibald unveils the Séance Chamber, a foreboding room bathed in an otherworldly glow, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows on crimson walls, as if the very air anticipates the impending darkness. Emma and Archibald traverse the winding corridors, the air thick with the residue of centuries. Portraits of long-forgotten faces watch their progress, their eyes seeming to follow their every move. The silence is broken only by the echoes of their footsteps, a sinister prelude to the horrors that lie ahead. The Séance Chamber awaits, hidden behind these walls, a chamber that holds the secrets of Ravenwood Manor in its dark embrace. As Emma enters the Séance Chamber, a gasp catches in her throat. The room is bathed in an otherworldly glow, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows on the crimson walls. A circular table dominates the center, surrounded by antique chairs whose wood creaks with age. The air itself seems to hum with an unearthly energy, and Emma senses that the chamber holds more than just forgotten tales. It holds a malevolence waiting to be unleashed. Archibald Blackthorn, with eyes glinting in unearthly light, motions for Emma to take a seat at the table. The air in the room grows thicker, as if the very atmosphere anticipates the impending darkness. With a sense of trepidation, Emma sits down, her fingers tracing the carvings on the armrest. Archibald begins to speak of seances past, a gateway to the spirit world for generations. The Blackthorn family's obsession with the beyond, the seances that summoned a malevolent force growing stronger with each incantation, weaving its tendrils into the very fabric of Ravenwood Manor. As the clock strikes midnight, Archibald insists they perform a seance to demonstrate the power that lingers within the chamber. The candles flicker as he chants an ancient incantation, the words resonating with a haunting melody. The room grows colder, and Emma feels an unseen presence brushing against her skin. The air buzzes with an otherworldly energy, and the shadows on the wall seem to writhe in agony. The seance is afoot, and the darkness inches closer, hungry and malevolent. As the seance reaches its zenith, the temperature plummets, and Emma feels an unseen presence brush against her skin. The air itself seems to pulse with otherworldly energy, and the shadows on the wall writhe in agony. A voice echoes in the chamber, a whisper that claws at the edges of sanity. Panic sets in as the room plunges into darkness, the candles extinguished by an unseen hand. In the pitch-black silence, Emma can feel eyes upon her, malevolent and hungry. A guttural growl reverberates through the chamber, and she is paralyzed with terror. In the pitch-black silence, Emma is enveloped by the suffocating darkness. The air is thick with an otherworldly tension, and the spectral force draws closer. The room becomes a void, and Emma senses a malevolent presence lingering just beyond her sight. Whispers surround her, a cacophony of anguished souls pleading for release. She is alone in the abyss, a helpless pawn in the game between the living and the dead. In the impenetrable darkness, a guttural growl echoes through the chamber. It's a sound that transcends the boundaries of the natural, a primal and malevolent force making its presence known. The darkness seems to constrict, pressing in on Emma from all sides. The atmosphere is charged with an ominous energy, and the growl intensifies, sending shivers down her spine. The Séance Chamber has come alive with an ancient, hungering evil that has been unleashed. As suddenly as it began, the séance ends. The candles reignite with a feeble light, casting a haunting glow upon Emma's horrified expression. Archibald, his features twisted in a mix of terror and satisfaction, declares that the veil has been lifted, if only for a moment. The room is illuminated, revealing the aftermath of a supernatural encounter. Emma, still trembling, realizes the true nature of the malevolent force that Ravenwood Manor harbors. Days turn into nights, and Emma's sanity unravels like a fragile thread. The spectral whispers follow her, a constant reminder of the malevolent force that has been unleashed. Sleep becomes elusive, haunted by nightmares that blur the line between reality and the supernatural. Emma becomes consumed by the secrets of Ravenwood Manor, unable to escape the tendrils of its dark history. The mansion's cruel embrace tightens around her, and she descends into a maddening obsession. Driven by a morbid compulsion, Emma returns to the Séance Chamber. The air within is heavy with the residue of countless rituals. The table stands as a silent witness to the horrors that have transpired, and the tapestry seems to ripple with unseen currents. Emma is drawn to the heart of darkness, compelled by a force beyond her control. The Séance Chamber calls to her, its secrets whispering promises of revelation and terror. As Emma gazes into the darkness, the Séance Chamber comes alive with spectral apparitions. Faces twisted in agony stare at her from the shadows, their silent screams echoing through the chamber. The temperature drops, and the malevolent force manifests before her, a formless entity that hungers for her very soul. Terrified, Emma tries to flee, but an unseen force holds her in place. The room echoes with the tormented cries of the departed, and the walls seem to close in around her. The chamber becomes a suffocating abyss, a nightmare from which there is no escape. In the heart of the Séance Chamber, the malevolent force takes shape. A formless entity manifests, its presence hungering for Emma's very soul. The air crackles with an ominous energy as the entity writhes in agony, its shape shifting and contorting. Emma is paralyzed with terror, witnessing a force that defies the laws of the living. The Séance Chamber, once a gateway to the spirit world, now houses a malevolence that hungers for the living. In a desperate bid for freedom, Emma begins to recite a chant covered in her research, a desperate plea for protection against the malevolent force. The air crackles with energy as the incantation fills the chamber. The spectral apparitions recoil, and the formless entity writhes in agony. Emma's voice is a desperate hymn, a last stand against the darkness that threatens to consume her. The Séance Chamber vibrates with the clash of supernatural forces, a battle between the living and the malevolent dead. With a final guttural roar, the malevolent force begins to dissipate. The Séance Chamber is filled with a blinding light as the dark retreats, leaving Emma gasping for breath. The spectral apparitions fade, and the formless entity dissolves into nothingness. The battle is won, and the chamber, once a cauldron of malevolence, now stands silent and still. The tormented souls find release, and the darkness that clung to Ravenwood Manor begins to fade. As Emma emerges from the chamber, the first rays of dawn illuminate the facade of Ravenwood Manor. The air is no longer heavy with the weight of centuries, and the ancient trees seem to sigh in relief. The town below remains oblivious to the horrors that transpired within. Unaware of the malevolence that clung to the mansion, the townsfolk go about their lives as if the darkness had never touched Ravenwood Manor. But Emma knows better. The Séance Chamber, with its sinister secrets, has claimed a piece of her soul. The townsfolk below continue their lives, unaware of the sinister secrets that lurk within the walls of Ravenwood Manor. Oblivious to the malevolent force that once threatened to spill into their world, they walk through the streets, their daily routines undisturbed. The air is calm, the sun shining as if the darkness never brushed against the manor. But for Emma, the scars of the Séance Chamber linger. The town remains blissfully ignorant of the horrors that unfolded, a thin veil separating their reality from the nightmares that played out within the mansion's confines. As Emma walks away from the accursed mansion, she casts one last glance over her shoulder. Half expecting the shadows to reach out and drag her back into the abyss, she carries the weight of Ravenwood Manor's secrets with her. The tale of the Séance Chamber and its sinister secrets will be forever etched in her memory. A chilling reminder that some secrets are best left buried, and that the line between the living and the dead is a thin veil that, once torn, can unleash unspeakable horrors upon the world. The darkness may have retreated for now, but the echoes of the Séance Chamber will linger, a haunting legacy that Emma carries into the unknown. For more videos like these, please like, share, and subscribe. And please press the bell icon.